Hey guys, Chris from Provo Beast Audio Installation, and in today's video we're going to be unboxing another super cheap and budget-friendly radio that we found off of Amazon. Now this one happens to be the Joybring radio brand. What we're going to be doing is unboxing this super budget-friendly kit, show you everything that it comes with, and then we're going to throw some power at it so you can see how it performs. Let's get started. Now this kit does feature Apple Carplay and Android Auto. We purchased this for about 140 bucks at the time on Amazon. Prices will go up and down, they fluctuate all the time, but that's about the time that we purchased it at. Now what's special about this unit or this package, it also comes with I guess a free backup camera, if you will. Now we've done a couple of these cheap ones before on the channel. This one, in our experience, we've had the most success for the best budget friendly that still easily bolts up to aftermarket dash kits. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing pulled apart, show you what it comes with. Looks like your main harness adapters, an accessory harness, as well as actually quite a large manual. We've got our brackets and mounting hardware. Comes with a remote and our backup camera kit. Finally, the radio itself. Now it comes pre-installed with just a universal trim ring that it fits, but most likely it won't fit with your dash kit, so you just pop it on off just like that. And then we're going to get this mounted up in a standard size doubled-in dash kit so you can see its fitment in case you're wondering how well it'll probably look in your own vehicle. Alright, so we got everything pulled apart here, just included within the box itself. Now we'll go in further depth, all our accessories down below, but let's take a quick look at the radio and the chassis design itself. So looking at this radio, there are no hard buttons on the front of the faceplate here. No actual mechanical buttons. Everything that's going to be illuminated or soft buttons just basically senses the touch of your finger. Now generally they'll illuminate here on the left hand side. We do have also a USB input there, as well as an aux input there down below. There aren't any on the back of the radio, they're all located on the front of the radio. Now we do have a reset, and more than likely, because there's no external mic included within the box, the secondary hole there at the top is going to be your mic. On the right hand side we have space for a micro SD card in case you want to add one with I guess music or whatever you like to play in terms of multimedia. Now turning it off to the side, it is a shallow mount radio, which in a lot of ways is really nice, at least nowadays, where in case you have a big harness adapter or a very tight dash cavity, this is really nice because it gives you a little bit more space. It's not a typical doubled in depth type radio chassis. It is standard doubled in height and 4 inches tall, but it just gives you a little bit of space back behind the dash. On the back end side here we have an aluminum heatsink and some cooling fins. Now it is pinned and has a port for an external mic, but yet one is not included within the box. So if you want to add a mic down below, it's a 3.5 millimeter type jack, so like one that you would use for an Alpine or Kenwood or a JVC, not a Pioneer, but those type of mics will fit in that location in case you want to add an external one. Looks like it has a hole for a fan, but I don't see a fan in there. To the left of that we have our AM/FM Motorola antenna input. Then we have quite a few RCA connections. So looking here across the top, we have a composite yellow, white, and red. They're across the top here. Those are your composite inputs. Now second row, we got this white, yellow, and green. The green is going to be a subwoofer output for a bass amp in case you're adding a subwoofer down the road. That one there in the center is your reverse gear camera input. Being a reverse camera input, it'll display the camera as soon as you put it in reverse if one is equipped, and this one also comes with one, remember. And then this white one is paired with the red one down below. That is audio output. So again, outside of a subwoofer amp, if you're doing mids and highs amp, that is your audio output, or it could be an audio output, for example, for like a flip down DVD player or another source that needs that audio. There, right, that kind of brown one is your front camera input. And then finally, on the bottom right hand corner is a video output. So if you have, again, video screens, a flip down DVD, flip down monitor, headrest monitors, or anything like that, it's where you'd connect into. Now we have a small port here with additional connections. It did come with a harness here. That harness generally will include your front camera power, steering wheel controls, parking brake, reverse gear trigger wire, everything that's in that harness there. That's not included within your main harness here. Now speaking of that main harness, to the right of it we have a 15 amp fuse, and then these style connectors where essentially they are pinned differently so you can't get them backwards. We'll talk about the connectors here in a moment. So that's everything here on the back of the radio itself. So looking at the harness itself, there's two sets of harnesses. This harness is purely all audio speaker outputs. Whites, greens, grays, and purples. Whites are your front left, grays are your front right, greens are rear left, and purples or violet is your rear right. Each set's going to have a black wire, and that black wire stripe is going to indicate your negative wire. On your main power harness here, yellow is going to be your constant 12 volts or memory battery wire. Then you're going to have a blue, which is going to be either an amplifier turn on, or most times they're labeled as antenna power. Red's going to be your accessory, only on when the key is on. Orange is going to be illumination. It'll show 12 volts or want to see 12 volts when the headlights are on. And black is ground. So that's your main harness there. Then again, looking at our little accessory harness that's included is back car control, or in other words, your reverse gear trigger wire, which is pink. Then we have a miscellaneous black wire, which more than likely is just going to be a ground for like a camera or for steering wheel controls. We have brake detect, which is your parking brake wire. In most instances, you can hook that up or just ground it if needed. This one here is your front camera power. This is essentially going to put out 12 volts in case you're running a front camera. It'll only basically turn on if you're on the front camera setting, so your front camera doesn't have to be on all the time. You have your steering wheel control 2 and steering wheel control 1. So if you have steering wheel volume controls or radio controls on the steering wheel themselves, depending on the smart harness or harness adapter or steering wheel control adapter, this is where you'd hook these two wires up. So that's your accessory harness. Comes with a nice manual. Finally here, let's look at our backup camera. Now it does come with your main video harness. So essentially one end will connect into the video input of the radio, the other end connects into the camera. Has a trigger wire built in, so you connect this to the radio's trigger wire, and then this end would go to the reverse light or your backup light, power and ground. So it's not only going to power the camera, but it'll provide the trigger for your radio. So this camera does have LEDs. So this camera type, I do not recommend that you hook up to accessory power. Only power when it's reversing, or else these bright LEDs will be on literally all the time when the car is running. And it also isn't license plate mountable, meaning there's no license plate kit here. It's only this bracket is available. So if you want to do a license plate kit, we can link a universal bracket in the description of the video to convert this from this flat style mount to a license plate mount. Let's go ahead and get this powered up using our test bench here, show you the interface, and see if indeed this Apple Carplay and Android Auto feature really works. Alright, so let's simulate turning the vehicle or starting the vehicle. Now this is a first time boot up for us as well. Alright, there we are. Perfect. Now the interface, if you remember from the other video we did that had the volume knob on it, the UI on the radio itself is identical. It uses the same operating system, if you will. So looking here, it looks identical to the Henstar 7-inch screen that we installed that had the volume knob. Now the difference between the Henstar and this one is the Henstar had that big volume knob, which was super annoying because it would bind up with any dash kit you decide to pair this with. Now what makes this one different, it'll actually seat a heck of a lot better for you and doesn't have the buttons to get in the way. The Henstar just wasn't a very good sized fit. However, we've had a lot more success with this guy here based on its design. Now here on the left hand side we have a back button, volume up, volume down. We have a power / mute button and a home button here, and they're actually pretty responsive, believe it or not. So now here at the home screen, we have our basic radio, Bluetooth. It'll stay there. Radio, Bluetooth. Phone link is going to be where you'll connect either CarPlay or Android Auto via USB. We have USB in case there's like a thumb drive hooked in. SD card is the SD card there, slot top right hand corner of the radio. AVN are going to be those AV inputs on the back of the radio, those composite yellow, white, and red. We got your front camera input, which would use for your front camera. We have our setup. We'll go next here. We have EQ, wallpaper, you can change your logo, and steering wheel volume controls. That's where you'd go in and manually program those, if so equipped, if you have the adapter and the actual buttons on the steering wheel for the radio. So that's it. That's pretty basic here. In your setup menu, it actually has quite a few different settings within the system. You got language, audio, you can adjust the default audio, display, time setup, Bluetooth setup. You got phone link, other steering wheel control setup, factory setup, and version. So now you're probably wondering, well, I'm here for CarPlay. Does CarPlay work, and how well does it work? Well, let's go ahead and get our test phone to see indeed if it works for us today. Okay, so we got that all hooked up here. Now let's go to this phone link. For iPhone, you don't have to download any app, but for Android, you generally have to download the Android Auto app. Let's see here, and oh, here it comes. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Sure enough, it works fine. And it is wired CarPlay. It's not wireless, and so if you're looking for wireless, this probably isn't the unit for you. But as for wired CarPlay for the price, it's great. Now, like I said, we have actually installed this a couple of times here within the shop, and of all your cheapest, budget-friendly units that actually don't have, you know, the big brand name on it, this has probably been one of our favorites. We've installed this quite a few different times. It does allow you to have quite a few Apple CarPlay compatible apps here. You can hit your main button, and response time within the touchscreen actually isn't too bad. Resolution actually isn't too bad either. Now, we've installed some really budget-friendly units here that haven't been our favorite. This one actually has surprised us how decent it is for what you're paying for 140 bucks. Now, the Henstar that we did before was about 88, 90 bucks. Quality-wise, I think it's head and shoulders above the previous unit. So if we had to choose between one versus the other, even though this doesn't have a volume knob, we like it a lot more. So Apple CarPlay certainly does work, and it looks like it's functioning correctly. So that's it. Now, finally here, before we get things all taken down here, let's see how this thing fits within a dash kit. Alright, so we went ahead and got that all mounted up here. Actually looks really nice, and it fits really well within the dash kit, so super pleased with that. So that's about it for this install. Now, if you want to see the Henstar 7-inch no-name brand radio that we featured here on the channel, we'll link that video down in the description here for you as well. If you want to know how to install a backup camera, we have a great generic tutorial on the channel as well for that. And then finally, if you want to pick one of these up yourself, we'll link this radio down in the description of the video. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to post great content on the channel all the time, and we will see you in the next video.